Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's premium review in which we are taking a look at the British Thunderbolt Mark I sitting at 4.3 battle rating in the British line. And of course this is the other Razorback that has been released this patch. And I assumed it was complete copies of each other. But as I tested them out, I realized they are not exact copies. Most of everything basically is the same. The engine is the same as well, as far as I could tell. Fuel tanks, all that jazz, but the speeds are not the same. And that is something to think about. This plane is about 10 kilometers an hour slower, sometimes even 15 kilometers an hour, than the American Razorbolt. And well, that's the only thing that is different basically. So we can start with those maximum speeds and see how much they differ. The maximum speed at sea level without web is 510 kilometers an hour, and with web 538. At 4500 meters this is 468 without web and 492 with web, and finally at 6500 meters you'll go up to 445 without web and 465 with web. Now you saw the other video not too long ago, but yeah, differences are 12 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers an hour, and it is what it is. I guess the differences are the lowest at low altitude and a little bit higher on high altitude. But that's it. The top speeds in the dive are the same. The fuselage and the wings and all that jazz is the same. So you have an 841 kilometers an hour red line and 920/30 kilometers an hour rip speed, and that's quite good. It was good in the other one, it's good in this one. The dive is the most important thing, and it is a plane to be patient in. We saw that it's basically true for all the Thunderbolts. You need to use it to its strength, and if you get in a disadvantaged position, as me and my team are slowly finding ourselves in, we are losing the altitude. As I just before this one I made a huge mistake against that zero, and I made one turn too many. I should have dove away then, and he was going up. I should have gone down. And I would have extended long enough not to get this damage then, and I would have been able to support my team in this situation then more. Now I had to go back to the airfield, and I'm coming back in now, but my team has been pushed down a little bit. Basically, mainly because of my mistake. So yeah, if you lose the altitude because of stupid things, it can hang, the balance can hang on such little things, where I should have actually, instead of rolling upwards, I should have rolled downwards and gone into a dive for a little bit and get that zero off my tail, then climb back up and re-engage. But I didn't. I made a mistake. He got two good shots on me. Yeah, man, it hangs in the balance sometimes. But anyway, my whole team is still alive. And of course, my team, the rest of the team, my squadron mates are still alive, let's say. The rest of the team is dead, except one bomber that's flying out there. It usually goes that way. But I have noticed in this plane that what we talked about earlier in the other Thunderbolt, that the many planes were unspaded at that point that were flying. I think now most of those planes are spaded, and you see more equal matches again, and also more matches where the allies actually dominate. So that is good to see. I already thought it would take a couple of days in the other vid, and yeah, it has turned out to be correct. The controls differing in this plane in that dive, so good dive speed, a small tick at 500 kilometers an hour, and at 750 you get the second tick. In the roll rate especially, elevator stays very functional. This plane actually for a long time stays very good in the roll rate when she's fast. Most of the time the faster the better, but you still notice a little tick at 500 and a little bigger tick at 750, but she stays very good in the roll rate, better than most planes, let's say. The stall speed in the plane is 150 kilometers an hour, which is quite decent actually. And we come to the firepower, which is of course excellent. You have 8 12.7mm M2 Browning machine guns, otherwise known as 50 cals, with 425 rounds per gun. Now that amount of ammo is also excellent. Nothing to complain about. As that zero just barely escapes my shots. That's also how it goes sometimes. We have to eliminate them. We've got to take some risks here. We get a crit. Good. This plane also has the same bomb loads as the other Razorbolt in the American line. Several bomb and rocket options. And one combo between bombs and rockets, which is quite nice, but I wouldn't take it myself. But if you want to take this plane into ground RB, then I guess it's a good option. I've heard some positive noises of people that took it out to great effect. Now the acceleration in a straight line in this plane is decent, and in a dive it's very good. That's a bit of a jump, but she just accelerates better when she and not initial. So the initial acceleration in a dive is also still more towards the decent of a straight line, but as she starts to wind up, she starts to go faster and faster, and after a few seconds you get very good dive speed acceleration. The energy retention in the horizontal is good, so when you come out of that dive to escape somebody, she holds her speed very nicely, especially with the web engaged. So yeah, very good. Diving is the main strength of the plane, as I said, and that is both to do an attack as it is to do a defensive move. In the vertical, she is not more than decent. Be careful with vertical maneuvers, stall maneuvers especially. As K-Panic here, my last remaining squadron mate, is in trouble. He has to go back to the airfield actually. Here's Valdez again, the zero that I faced before. And this guy is, my aim is off here. Just slightly missed him there, unfortunately, but again, now I roll off and go into the dive. This is a better decision. I should have done this the first time around. As you see, we are already 900 plus meters away, and we can easily extend from here. So that's the way I should have played it the first time as well. He's a kilometer away, he's spraying, but if I keep the nose down and keep accelerating, I will out distance him very quickly. There we go. So yeah. But that vertical energy retention is not the greatest, so you got to be aware that it's only decent, and you got to look at when you are facing a real energy fighter that you make sure that you're careful. The climb rate is also average, if not the best, but that is known about Thunderbolts. You got to side climb in this thing, got to be patient. This is a perfect plane to teach yourself patience and to you know, to relax. That's the guy we critted earlier, the Kai-84, and we actually hit him in the engine, I think, a crit, so he crashed. I didn't have to do anything anymore. Fantastic. The turn time in this plane is below average, even with flaps. The flaps rip off at 570 kilometers an hour. And yeah, turn time is nothing spectacular. You have to be careful against real turners like the A6M5. He just only needed 1.5 turns to get on my tail and pump some 20 millimeters in the fuselage. This plane can take some damage though, so that's good. The roll rate in this plane is on average good. It is only average below 300 kilometers an hour, and above 450, around 500 kilometers an hour, it is actually very good to great. I mean, the faster this thing goes, the better, and if it's a little bit on altitude as well, then yeah, she has a great roll rate, and it will be difficult to beat this plane, maybe only with some of the Focke-Wulfs in the roll rate. But yeah, that is an exceptional situation when she's fast and when she's on altitude, and that is not where the majority of combat takes place in War Thunder, unfortunately. So on average it's good roll rate, and if you're slow then it becomes average. Maneuverability in this plane is, as I said, below average, below 300 kilometers an hour. Then it becomes average between 300 and 400 kilometers an hour, and above 400 kilometers an hour it is actually decent. Now overheating in this one is worse than in the American version. It overheats badly for some reason with extended web use. Much more, in my opinion, than the American version, and it cools off very slowly. So difficult. In the end, by the way, we finished this match off as a win, but for my early mistake against that zero, my squadron mates had to pay by dying one by one as the enemy got the higher grounds and managed to push us down. We did manage to win though in the end. It was a fun fight, but it could have gone a little easier if I had made the right decision against that zero. I wouldn't have had to go back to the airfield then, and we would have had one more plane to work with against the enemies that didn't kill my squadron mates off that quickly either. They stayed alive a long time in a numerical disadvantage. So they played that pretty well. Durability in this plane is excellent. She can take a load of damage. I've heard some people talk about both Razorbacks, by the way, that they get a lot of engine damage with only a few hits, and you have to go back to the airfield, and it dies quickly apparently. I have not had that. I haven't been hit in the engine yet, so I don't know this. From my experience, as the damage I took from in some situations, also from airfields and stuff, she takes that damage very well, and in a few situations, just like with that zero, she handles the stuff well. But yeah, if you notice this as well, if you have, let me know in the comments if you also had engines die on you with one stray 50 cal or one stray bullet in there. I would be fascinated to know if this is actually the case. For the rest, this plane is a true boom and zoomer, just like the other Razorbolt. They are both great planes. I enjoy them both. I like the looks better than the bubble canopy. Fantastic planes. Thunderbolts, whatever version, are magnificent boom and zoomers. But you got to get them onto altitude, so it does take patience and discipline, and not many people have that, unfortunately, in War Thunder. That's why these planes are often misused, and with people going to lower altitudes too quickly, not climbing, not really side climbing, trying too close to the center, and then being surprised why people are above you. And I'm always willing to explain these things and try to make people better at it, but I mean, you got to have that discipline. Gotta side climb, gotta observe the match. What is happening? Am I already the highest plane? How many planes are above me? How many planes do I see? How many planes are left? How many planes are still hiding? And then make an educated guess. If you see 9 out of 12 planes and you are the highest plane, it's pretty safe to turn in. Yeah, don't look at an altitude, but look at the match. Learn to observe the match. That's the main thing I can talk about. That is the most important thing when it comes to flying these kind of planes that need some patience and side climbing. Okay, let's see what we got for that 4 kill match. We've got, what is that again? Oh yeah, rank does not matter. Final blow, terror of the sky, balancer and bulletproof. 112,000 silver lions and 13,000 research points. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now, fantastic looking plane, nice skin, typical British. Gotta love the Razorback, I really do. I don't understand exactly why this plane is slower than the American Thunderbolt. It is a fantastic plane. It's about a difference of 10 to 15 kilometers an hour. In several situations, on the higher altitudes it's a bit more. For the rest, they are quite identical in the performance. Diving in these planes is the most fun there is, being fast on altitude. But yeah, the main issue, as I said before, is the discipline, the patience that you got to have to fly this plane, to really side climb. And I don't mean just slightly off center, I mean really to the side. And make sure that you are 15 kilometers away from the nearest enemy plane and keep it that way. Don't let people come towards 9, 7 kilometers an hour that range, because they will be able to spot your dot at a certain point, and that is not something you want, because then they know somebody is side climbing, and that's what many people do wrong. You've got to be out of range and make sure that you have the space and the room to side climb. Once you get this plane, wound up, and on altitude she is a nightmare to deal with for enemy teams. And yeah, so it's definitely recommended. She has fantastic rewards, by the way. I'm running a premium account with this thing. I didn't have 13,000, by the way. That was the vehicle research. I had 31,000 or something for that match. So if you get 3-4 kills, you are above 25,000 research points. That's fantastic. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.